Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star episode number 385 based on novel. So let's start. In the vast universe ocean, endless chaotic airflow filled the atmosphere. A black-haired man with silver wings left scattered streaks of shadows as he teleported repeatedly across vast distances within the universe ocean. This was Luo Feng, who was just leaving the primal universe and making his way toward Universe Boat all by himself. This was different from the first time he went to Tilted Peak Sector. Although it took only slightly more than 1,000 years, after absorbing a large amount of energy from the origin during the time spent in the space of the wings, the once heavily damaged Shawu wings were able to restore their original form to become almost perfect again. Once the hazy golden light spread to fill the surroundings, the force was so powerful that even Luo Feng was breathless with wonder. Sometimes, an unknown occurrence could bring a bigger surprise than all the other known ones combined. Other great beings could be strong in attack, defense, godly body, techniques, and much more. For him, regardless of how many flaws or how lacking he was, merely by relying on the combination of the perfect Shawu wings, flame sand cup, and miniature universe, he could at least wipe out all the other pinnacle domain true treasures. He could fight if he wanted to or leave if he needed to. He was in total control of what would be done. I'm so looking forward to it. I will make use of this journey to hone my willpower to the level of a Universe Supreme Master. Then I will go back to Tilted Peak Sector and claim that pair of white wings. Luo Feng was filled with anticipation. On the one hand, he allowed his mind to run wild with its thoughts. On the other hand, he maintained a high frequency of long-distance teleportation. Suddenly, he stopped. A natural wormhole. Luo Feng looked far into the distance at the gigantic, distorted space whirlpool. He revealed a trace of a smile. It had been a pretty dull journey rushing about Universe Ocean. There were chaotic airflows everywhere. At times, he would make a single teleportation that would last over a span of 1 to 2 days. Other times, he would maintain a high or almost maximum frequency of repeated teleportation. Everywhere he passed, there was no direction to speak of. The only constant was that chaotic airflow. Indeed, how dull it was. So when he saw that natural wormhole, it was like seeing a ray of hope amidst helplessness. My trip to Universe Boat this time will probably take a long time, Luo Feng commented lightly. Prior to setting off, he had looked up a large quantity of information on Universe Boat so that he would be clear on where he should go to hone his willpower. The Universe Boat was massive and its internal domain was fraught with dangers, with many places where he would never dare to teleport. The destination he had set his sights on was none other than the land for honing willpower. Universe Boat, one of the 3 most dangerous lands, was fraught with danger. Based on ready information found within the human race's databank, there were quite a few lands for honing willpower within the internal domain, and every single one had a different environment. Within one of these environments, the black-striped stone pillar could be found, or, according to what Luo Feng and the humans called it, the celestial magic pillar. It was one of the countless strange objects found within Universe Boat. There was a total of 16 celestial magic pillars, black-striped stone pillars. These 16 celestial magic pillars all stood at a towering height of more than 1,000 light-years and were all extremely powerful. No attack was strong enough to cause damage or take them away. They were the supporting pillars of a certain strange space. Within that strange space were numerous gigantic secret chambers. Within each secret chamber, there was an isolated space, and each one had a corresponding black token. Anyone who wanted to enter the isolated space of this secret chamber would have to possess the corresponding black token. What Jia Fanzi had left behind was a green token that was of a higher grade. Similarly, the green token corresponded to one of the secret chambers with an isolated space that was even deeper within the internal domain. It was so deep that it could be the end of the internal domain, where the edge of the core region was. Even Universe Supreme Masters were extremely cautious when they were located there. Great beings like Primal Chaos City Leader would not even dare venture so far in. The celestial magic pillars were located in a space that was not so deep in. Thus, the difficulty level was much lower, so great beings like Primal Chaos City Leader, Star River Master, Ice Mountain Master, and Anyong Master would at least dare to take a shot at entering the region. Spending a couple hundred or 1,000 years within the internal domain ought to have been more than enough to reach the space with the celestial magic pillars. These celestial magic pillars were magical and exerted the impact of endless willpower. The closer they were, the more intimidating the impact of their willpower could get. And the closer to these celestial magic pillars, the faster the time velocity was. Time velocity could reach a ratio of 100 to 1. or even 1,000 to 1. This time velocity was the reason why Luo Feng decided to head to this space with the celestial magic pillars. After all, just by venturing deeper and deeper into the internal region to arrive at a land for honing willpower was a long process that could take a couple hundred or 1,000 years. The process of traveling back and forth would take an extremely long time. One also had to consider the time spent on attaining the willpower of a universe supreme master. If going to the space with the celestial magic pillars was more time-saving, then naturally, it would be Luo Feng's first choice. The largest hidden treasure within Original Star was within the Disambiguation Temple, so within the Disambiguation Temple, there must be various components of a pinnacle domain-type true treasure. Luo Feng had to make a choice. He had already obtained one Disambiguation Mirror Stone, so he was qualified to enter the temple. Yet he might not be able to make it on time. After all, once all 36 Disambiguation Mirror Stones had been born, Disambiguation Temple would open. Those with the Disambiguation Mirror Stones would be granted entry. Suppose the Disambiguation Temple opened, but he was over at where the celestial magic pillars were. By the time he made it back, a couple hundred or 1,000 years would have passed. Then the fight for treasures at the Disambiguation Temple would have ended. The Disambiguation Mirror Stones. I have left them in God Country. Should Disambiguation Temple open, I would be able to rush back within the shortest time possible, that is, if I made the trip personally. Otherwise, I could hand the stones over to teacher and company. Then at least the Disambiguation Mirror Stones will not go to waste. Luo Feng valued this Disambiguation Mirror Stones, but upon consideration, he valued the pair of damaged white wings more than he did the stones. Luo Feng transformed into a beam of light, flew into the natural wormhole, and soon was transmitted an extremely far distance away. Time passed. After using up almost 12 days within the vast universe ocean, Luo Feng finally arrived at one of the three most dangerous lands, Universe Boat. That, ahead of us, is Universe Boat. Luo Feng continued to teleport repeatedly for a few minutes. Suddenly, the scenery before him changed. Chaotic airflow suddenly thinned out substantially. From afar, a more astounding scene unfolded. This, Luo Feng stood in void space as he looked at the unbelievable scene billions of light years away. Even though he had witnessed this scene before when he was going through the information he'd found, this was the first time he had laid eyes on the true Universe Boat, and he felt an overwhelming shock. The immeasurable towering Universe Boat was a damaged, incomparably gigantic naval vessel. It was as tall as several tens of millions of light years, and as long as billions of light years. It was a complex mix of deep black and bewildering purple, and its body, even from a couple billion light years away, Luo Feng could see the dense spots of damaged areas that were full of cracks and holes. It was like a naval vessel that had been shot by a barrage of lasers, then hacked by many gigantic blades. It was utterly damaged. An overpowering gravitational force was released from within the Universe Boat, swallowing the surrounding chaotic airflow in a frantic manner, causing the chaotic airflow in its surroundings to always be maintained at a thinned condition. Upon swallowing the chaotic airflow, the entire Universe Boat was able to maintain a constant release of its endless power. A circular, gigantic river of flames surrounded the Universe Boat while the vast cold sea enshrouded it with cold air. Amidst the cold air, one could vaguely see glittering and translucent icebergs that resembled mirrors. At the same time, a huge wind whirlpool was raging in the surroundings. A gigantic electric snake that was several tens of thousands light years long was raging and roaring. Streaks of resplendent light rays of various colors dazzled Luo Feng. Huge, lush green vines climbed and twined around the surface of the vessel, appearing to be so quiet. Flames, cold air, wind, electricity, vines, rays. In the outermost boundary, a large number of broken segments were constantly circulating the bulk of Universe Boat while flying at high speed. These were likely segments that had broken off the body of Universe Boat, and they were constantly flying around at high speeds. Luo Feng did not find all these most shocking at all. What shocked him most was that at the lower region of the Universe Boat, there was a thick chaotic air mass. He could see a faint array of colorful electric lights flashing. There were colors like gold, red, blue, and green. And within that chaotic airflow, there was a huge, damaged miniature universe. A miniature universe. Swallowed a miniature universe, it has actually swallowed a miniature universe. Luo Feng was truly taken aback. The top half of the miniature universe is gone. Could it be because it was partially swallowed? The miniature universe by itself was as long as billions of light years. It was damaged, but it still had a diameter of billions of light years. If its height was taken into consideration, the size of the miniature universe would have been even bigger. I really wonder what the background of the universe boat is. Luo Feng could not help the thoughts that were thronging his mind. Directly swallowing the chaotic airflow is not something that just any great being would be capable of. Only a miniature universe would be able to absorb and transform this chaotic airflow into energy of universe laws. However, not only can Universe Boat constantly swallow the chaotic airflow, but it can even swallow the whole miniature universe. And it can transform everything it has absorbed into gold, wood, water, fire, earth, wind, thunder, and lightning, light rays, time, space, and various kinds of energy. Within the Universe Boat, not only are there secret chambers that contain isolated spaces aplenty, but there are also quite a handful of places with strange time velocity. To be able to achieve all of the above, it is practically comparable to the universe laws of a miniature universe. This Universe Boat. How was it made in the first place? And how did it get so severely damaged? It's just that, according to the legends of the three most dangerous lands, we have already lost count of the number of reincarnation eras that have passed, Luo Feng said to himself. Countless great beings often discovered items left behind by some universe supreme masters known from history. They often discovered some information, yet regardless of which reincarnation era these were from, all seemed to involve records of the three most dangerous lands. The eternal nature of the three most dangerous lands was comparable to the endless generations of reincarnations of the primal universe. No one knew how the three most dangerous lands had been born. Luo Feng was quite appalled when he actually saw Universe Boat with his own eyes. He had spent quite some time teleporting before he finally arrived at the region of the Universe Boat where a great number of broken segments were flying at high speeds. There were countless broken segments. The small ones were as big as tens of billions of kilometers, and the big ones were as big as a couple hundreds of light years. Luo Feng teleported himself to land on a piece of a broken segment of the Universe Boat. This segment's largest diameter was around 0.6 light years. Other than some patterns that were purple, the rest of it was all a deep black color, resulting in the entire broken segment exuding an oppressive force that made Luo Feng's heart tremble. And this broken segment shared a vague connection to the Universe Boat that was quite a distance away. Since time immemorial, countless great beings had tried, but none had been able to take away a single piece of Universe Boat's broken segments. Even if they were to attack a Universe Boat broken segment at full force, they would still not be able to throw the broken segment into chaos. It was as though an invisible rope tied the broken segment and Universe Boat together. I have arrived on Universe Boat, Luo Feng said to himself. I shall head over to the gathering place of my fellow human race first. With that, a human figure could be seen flashing about in the void space. After spending about 5 minutes, Luo Feng teleported and appeared on a fast-flying, distorted piece of Universe Boat broken segment. This was the gathering place for humans from the primal universe. On the three most dangerous lands, be it Tilted Peak Sector, Universe Boat, or flowing countless mountains, the human race would always designate a gathering place. As the exploration process required constant vigilance and caution, if one felt tired after spending a long time exploring dangerous lands, they could return to these designated gathering places to rest. The fragments of Universe Boat were close to the wind whirlpool. Even though it was only a small part of the wind, it hit Luo Feng everywhere, crashing into him like blades. But to Luo Feng, they were like a light breeze. A being showed up. Luo Feng. Uncle. Luo Feng looked at Ice Mountain Master in surprise. Why are you here? After the fight with Yuan Ao Master, Ice Mountain Master was very close to Luo Feng as they tried to get the pulling traces diagram and defended themselves against the enemies together. Why can't I come here? Said Ice Mountain Master. That's not what I meant, said Luo Feng. I thought the human race was in Tilted Peak Sector. I thought you were in Tilted Peak Sector. That's true, said Ice Mountain Master. You just contributed a huge map of Universe Boat, so we can get more the first time. Lots of great beings of the human race will come here. Besides, Huge Axe Founder wanted a supreme true treasure, which is why he came here. It'll take him around 100 years to arrive here. Luo Feng flew side by side with Ice Mountain Master. He's not in Tilted Peak Sector anymore? He might still go in the future, Ice Mountain Master explained. We got some pictures of the inner area, but Huge Axe Founder never arrived there. He was lucky enough to find a special place and got a supreme true treasure there. In the inner area? Luo Feng was shocked. Supreme true treasures were usually in the core areas. Of course, there were exceptions, just like those white wings. It's in the inner area, so he came out fast, said Ice Mountain Master. The concentration of the human race in Universe Boat. As for Tilted Peak Sector, we'll leave that for later. Luo Feng understood. The map he contributed was much larger. After all, he only got several pieces from Yuan Ao Master, and none of them showed the path to the core area. After a short while, on a fragment of Universe Boat, a White Godly Palace was located on a great canyon. Ice Mountain Master walked to the White Godly Palace. We need to venture into the inner areas of Universe Boat. The top beings of the human race will come here one by one. There are 3 of us here. Me, Void Gold Master, and Shenma Master. For if we count you. Shenma Master? Luo Feng was surprised. The Hong Alliance is an alliance, after all, said Ice Mountain Master. We'll give a part of our map to them. But remember, they are other races, so we can't share everything even if we're in the same alliance. These secrets are all obtained by us humans. Luo Feng nodded. Some other races would trade something under temptations, and they couldn't be tracked as long as they kept it clean. Some beings left the Hong Alliance and joined other alliances, like Flame Emperor. Luo Feng and Ice Mountain Master transmitted their voices using godly power. Luo Feng, Ice Mountain. Milky Way Horde Leader, Ice Mountain Master. 2 beings showed up in front of the Godly Palace and greeted Luo Feng and Ice Mountain Master. Void Gold Master, Shenma Master. Luo Feng shouted. Luo Feng didn't rush it, as Ice Mountain Master and Void Gold Master were waiting outside. Time flew, and great beings came one after another, such as Peng Gong Master and Huang Jian Master. One day, Luo Feng and Void Gold Master stood beside the cliff. Void Gold Master lowered his eyebrows. Do you have something to say to me? Void Gold Master, said Luo Feng. 3 of us came from Earth. Hong is the big brother while I'm the 3rd brother. My big brother went to you after. I could still get in contact with Big Brother before, but I can't anymore. How is he doing now? You mean Hong? Void Gold Master smiled. He's your big brother, after all, and he is a genius. He didn't make much improvement at the start. However, he's a special one. Normally, great beings make less improvement later, but he is exactly the opposite. He didn't improve quickly at the beginning but keeps making breakthrough later. Shehua Knight was a disciple of Void Gold Master, and Shehua Master improved really fast. Comparatively, Hong indeed didn't improve quickly enough. He's really mediocre aside from willpower and illusions, and he was the worst at the beginning, said Void Gold Master. However, he's already been able to catch up with the average level of my disciples. Tens of thousands of years ago, he went to Star Prison. He became undying there and became an emperor called Huangjie Emperor. He was then taught by Huge Axe, and after that, I lost track of him. You can go ask Huge Axe. In the universe of Huge Axe? Luo Feng nodded. No wonder I can't get in contact. There were 2 small universes. One of them was the Primal Universe and the other was Huge Axe Universe. Teacher Universe performed the supreme technique, Virtual Universe, that could cover the entire original universe. But it couldn't get to the Universe Ocean. It couldn't get to other miniature universes as well. As for the original universe, it was an exception. After all, the Primal Universe belonged to Teacher Origin. The Virtual Universe could only cover the original universe and Primal Universe. Hong was in the universe of Huge Axe, so he couldn't contact him. He can't compare with you. Void Gold Master looked at Luo Feng. You became a Universe Master after only a short while. Luo Feng smiled. Perhaps Universe Boat isn't the best place for you, said Void Gold Master. You're adventuring in the outer area of Tilted Peak Sector, and even Primal Chaos City Leader won't go too deep in the inner area of Tilted Peak Sector. He'll go and rescue you if you run into danger. However, this is a new map, and many great beings will inspect the inner area. If you run into dangers in the outer area, they won't even be able to make it to rescue you. No worries, said Luo Feng. I know you have the wings that can control the space and time. Void Gold Master shook his head. However, if you run into an enemy that has a pinnacle domain type true treasure, you'll be dangerous. Though you have multiple bodies, your true treasures will be seized. I won't say much. After all, they're your true treasures, and you should be responsible for them. Void Gold Master Dove and Luo Feng stood beside the cliff, speechless. After a month, 16 Universe Masters of the Hong Alliance gathered, and they took off. Some of them ventured in the outer area. Some of them entered the inner area. The inner area is extremely dangerous. Even I can be killed if I'm not careful enough. Great beings flew out of the godly palace and Primal Chaos City leader alerted Luo Feng. You need to be at least as powerful as Ice Mountain and Void Gold if you want to go to the inner area. Unless you have super surviving skills, don't go. Luo Feng was speechless. He needed to go to the heavenly pillars to sharpen his willpower. He didn't even say that he would go to the green keepsake area. Primal Chaos City leader would be furious if he said he was going there. Chaos, Luo Feng isn't stupid, said Void Gold Master. He runs into dangers in the outer area sometimes. For the inner area, he will die if he goes. He knows what to do. Primal Chaos City leader frowned. He's my disciple. Void Gold Master smiled. He's one of us humans, and I want the best for him as well. Let's go, said Peng Gong Master. They teleported and left. Primal Chaos City leader took a look at Luo Feng and left. Void Gold Master said, be careful. Your teacher and I are in the inner area. We won't be able to help you. Then he left. Some called Luo Feng to come with them. No, I'll act alone. Luo Feng teleported and left. It took him 20 minutes to get to the surface. Based on the maps left by Jie Fanzi and the human race, there were 100 ways to get to the inner area. The great beings of the human race separated, and Luo Feng's destination was the heavenly demon pillar. He would certainly choose a route with fewer dangers. There are 892 dangerous areas in total. Some safe places allow teleportation, and some only allow slow flying. It might take me 500 to 600 years to get to the pillar. Move! Luo Feng flew to a crack down there. It was a huge crack 280,000 light-years long and 92 light-years wide. There were vines around it, and lots of ice crystals, too. Luo Feng went into the huge crack. He just flew in, and at one glance all he could see was endless, cold darkness. There were only faint traces of refracted rays caused by the ice crystals. So cold, said Luo Feng. He shot up into the sky and flew at high speed while putting his golden kingdom into play. Hazy golden light spread out instantly, enveloping an area with a radius of 80 light-years. However, some areas deep among the ice crystals were impenetrable and thus inexplorable. The 80 light-years contained thousands of regions, yet certain regions were anomalous, so the golden light was unable to probe into them. Only the more ordinary regions could be explored more thoroughly. Of course, Luo Feng restrained the amount of power exerted by Golden Kingdom. He only needed enough to maintain its exploratory function. After flying for a while, a blade of ice sliced through the void from afar without warning. It swept its way over and seemed as though it would extend to Luo Feng's location. Humph! Luo Feng put his mind to work, and the original restraint power of Golden Kingdom erupted in an instant. The erupted power crashed into that ice blade, which immediately changed its direction upon receiving such a strong impact. It quickly flew past Luo Feng, sailing above him. Luo Feng was already traveling at high speed, 90 times the speed of light. The deeper he ventured, the more soundless ice blades he came across. As the number increased, the more trouble Luo Feng felt was brewing. Blazing Flames Ocean. Luo Feng put his mind to work to activate Flame Sand Cup. Dazzling golden flames spread out instantly, but the power of Blazing Flames Ocean was a far cry from that of Golden Kingdom. Even as a supplementation, it did not bring about much improvement in Luo Feng's situation. Countless ice blades sliced across the length of the sky, colliding with one another, shattering into countless small ice blades and sweeping directly into Luo Feng's vicinity. Even if Blazing Flame Ocean and Golden Kingdom were to join forces, the most they could do would be to cause this dense pack of countless ice blades to encounter a slight change in direction. The area covered was too vast, so even a slight change in direction would still affect Luo Feng. Luo Feng frowned as he put his mind to work. Blazing flames, form my blade. The core power of the endless flame gathered rapidly. In the blink of an eye, everything had converged into a golden blade that was as long as 100 million kilometers. The golden blade was surrounded by blazing flames. This was certainly one of the ways the blade could be utilized, just like how many domain-type true treasures could gather power to restrain and attack enemies. Nine Tiger River was one such example. So was the top-tier domain-type true treasure blade River Luo, which converged its power to form a blade that was comparable to a pinnacle true treasure weapon. Flame Sand Cup was not good in this aspect, but it was, nonetheless, top-tier domain-type true treasure. Thus, when its power converged, it could still form a top-quality weapon with the power of a top-tier true treasure. Break. Luo Feng started manipulating the flaming golden blade that was 100 million kilometers long while executing his ultimate technique Golden Light. He manipulated this gigantic blade with his godly power, which was controlled by his powerful willpower and consciousness. After over 1,000 years of honing and sharpening within the space of the wings, Luo Feng's willpower was now much stronger than when he'd first entered Universe Ocean. Quick like lightning, a beautiful, golden blade ray was formed with full empowerment of Golden Kingdom. It was certainly comparable to a strike from a top-tier universe master. The gigantic blade ray hacked into the middle of the sea of countless ice blades where a violent shock caused the blades in the middle to shatter. Many ice blades within the region of the explosion collided into one another and shattered into even smaller fragments. Thereafter, they were tossed in random directions. At the core of this entire ice blade storm, a large cavity of about 10 million kilometers appeared. Luo Feng went through this hole, and in a flash, he had made it through the region of the explosion. "This is only the first region on my route," Luo Feng whispered, "and it stretches over a span of 2,100 light years. The only trouble was the ice blades. The nearer I get to the core, the more ice blades there are. Every ice blade was comparable to a full-force strike by an ordinary universe master. If I were to be surrounded and attacked by a large number of ice blades, I would definitely be in danger of sustaining heavy injuries." And yet, this was not even considered to be a dangerous land. There were 892 extremely dangerous lands on his route. Based on a simple categorization of normal, dangerous, and extremely dangerous, he had just entered a region considered to be normal. Firstly, its natural power was not intimidating enough. Secondly, Luo Feng could probe into this territory to understand the situation within and could teleport away to avoid any possible danger. After flying about for 3 days for a brief experience, Luo Feng started to advance with high efficiency. Where he could teleport, he would, if there was a need to use his blazing flame blade over an extremely long distance to create a path for advancing, he would. Even when he needed Star Tower to overcome a problematic situation, he would. His journey was fraught with danger. Within Luo Feng's world ring, his golden horned beast body was constantly standing guard within Star Tower. Even if Luo Feng were to suddenly meet with danger, an original Earthling body was instantly annihilated, at least Golden Horned Beast hiding within Star Tower would be able to pull through the dangerous situation and thus be able to reclaim Luo Feng's true treasures like his Shawu wings. In the blink of an eye, 21 years had passed. Throughout those 21 years, Luo Feng considered himself to have experienced how terrifying the internal domain could truly be. Comparing it with some of the extremely terrifying and dangerous regions, the Ice Blades region at the entrance to the internal domain was like a vacation zone. The various dangerous lands thereafter were inescapable. Techniques such as Golden Kingdom and Blazing Flames Blade proved useless when he tried to use them to save himself. He was forced to use Star Tower, which he did, in more than a couple dozen occasions to defend himself against the terrifying dangers. Wandering about the internal domain, having a palace true treasure was a must, Luo Feng thought. Even to the extent of a top-tier palace-type true treasure. When it came to top-tier palace-type true treasures, even Universe Supreme Masters would not be able to cause damage to them. Palace-type true treasures of this level were sturdy enough to tide through many kinds of dangers. Huge, jade-green ropes could be seen flying out of that endless black ocean toward Luo Feng. This black ocean was a nightmarish area, but Luo Feng was extremely at ease. Relying on Golden Kingdom, he could accurately locate certain safe grounds and teleport instantly when needed. Within this black ocean, he had teleported repeatedly like flashes of lightning, occasionally depending on Golden Kingdom to suppress those huge ropes. At the border of the black ocean was a vast, black, rocky land. The sky above this land was filled with molten lava. This suspended lava ocean often fell. At the same time, a large quantity of strange, huge, blazing rocks would rain from the lava ocean and crash onto the land beneath. The black ocean zone ahead is a breeze. But such relaxing days are hard to come by. The land beneath is the real trouble. Luo Feng stood at the edge of the vast black rocky land, then raised his head to look at the endless lava ocean suspended high up above. This region was named God-Destroying Valley. Along the route he had chosen, there were 892 extremely dangerous lands. Their danger levels rated near the top, and the danger level of this valley was enough to be ranked among the top 3. God-Destroying Valley was divided into 2 parts. The top consisted of the endless lava ocean, and the bottom consisted of the vast, black, rocky land. To break through, one had to proceed between the two. The entire journey was fraught with various dangers. Whatever danger it was, did not really matter to Luo Feng, as he believed that Golden Kingdom, Blazing Flames Blade, and Star Tower combined could see him through any danger along the way. Yet, the scariest part of God-destroying Valley was none other than Molten Lava Devil God. Molten Lava Devil God was a lofty figure tens of billions of kilometers in height. Its entire body was composed of sturdy rocks and limitless lava, and it had 4 gigantic arms. It had 3 eyes and a hideous fang sticking out of its mouth. Its level of intelligence was extremely low. It might even be considered to have no intelligence at all. But its power was incomparably terrifying. Molten Lava Devil God merely used that massive body of his. He fought the battle with his fists and legs. But his punches and kicks were unbelievably marvelous. When he started to fight and attack, even Universe Supreme Masters who possessed supreme true treasures would have to bow to his superiority and concede defeat. Its body suffered no damage. Up to that very day, no one had been able to injure Molten Lava Devil God. Once engaged in battle, even a Universe Supreme Master would barely escape from it, and Universe Masters and others exchanging blows with it were bound for annihilation. Information that Jie Fanzi and the human race had left behind provided introductions about God-destroying Valley, of which Jie Fanzi's information was more detailed. Nonetheless, both had a common consensus: it didn't matter who it was if Molten Lava Devil God got its hands on them. If the other party was not a Universe Supreme Master, it would be game over. Even if I hide inside Star Tower, so long as Molten Lava Devil God has its grasp on me, no matter how Star Tower attempts to take flight, it will not be able to fly away, thought Luo Feng. Star Tower will fall into an eternal predicament, and history has provided evidence that even for great beings hiding in Pinnacle Palace true treasures, once caught, would soon be annihilated. Luo Feng sighed inwardly. How had Molten Lava Devil God been born? No one knew. Many great beings had even guessed that Molten Lava Devil God might be formed from the corpses of an early group of users of the Universe Boat. Was this why, no matter how many Universe Supreme Masters attacked, it was not the least bit damaged? However, everything was purely speculative. The only concrete fact was that Molten Lava Devil God was practically witless but extremely powerful. Fortunately, it was faithfully territorial, so it would never leave God-destroying Valley. Within God-destroying Valley, there were a total of 9 Molten Lava Devil Gods. A Molten Lava Devil God is tens of billions of kilometers tall, Luo Feng thought, and its reflexes are extremely fast. The moment I fall within 10 billion kilometers of it, Star Tower will no longer be able to escape. Even huge Axe Creator has to hide from it. 9 Molten Lava Devil Gods. I hope I am lucky enough and can hide from them. God-destroying Valley occupied an area of tens of thousands of light years. There was a portion of it where space and time seemed to be completely frozen, without even a trace of ripple. There were very few regions that allowed teleportation, and there were many places that were unable to be probed by golden light. Advance. Luo Feng flapped his wings, giving rise to a hazy, golden light that spread its rays over a radius of 80 light years. Thereafter, he flew straight into God-destroying Valley. The burning temperature brought a slight frown to Luo Feng's face. This was enough to annihilate a universe night. From time to time, a large amount of lava would fall from a great height and come crashing to Earth. Luo Feng had to be careful when dodging and avoiding the falling lava. It was a common occurrence, and the danger it posed was quite small. The most dangerous obstacles were the huge rocks within the lava ocean that were not melted. These huge rocks fell at high speeds, and the impact they produced when they landed onto solid Earth was enough to crush a Universe Master to death. Yet the fortunate thing about these rocks was that they were, after all, lifeless objects, so avoiding them was possible. Break. Occupying an area of at least hundreds of millions of kilometers, the golden blazing flames blade suddenly hacked into a falling, gigantic rock that was tens of thousands of kilometers wide, causing the huge rock to fly to one side. Falling lava and also the occasional falling of large celestial rocks. Luo Feng had to be extremely careful as he advanced. On the 11th day after Luo Feng entered God-destroying Valley, in a certain corner of a territory that he was unable to explore, a head popped out from one of the caves of the black, rocky land. It had sparse, messy, and fiery red hair. A single roving eye looked at the rapidly advancing silver-winged figure in the air. Someone has the guts to break into God-destroying Valley? Eh? Isn't that the new Universe Master from the human race of the Primal Universe, Silverwing's Horde leader? The face on that head registered a slight frown as it muttered to itself. The human race had announced publicly that Luo Feng would be named Milky Way Horde leader, but in Tilted Peak sector, Luo Feng had earned his reputation by his silver wings. Thus, the other races had preferred to call him Silver Wings Horde leader. Young fellow, you just became a universe master not too long ago. You have silver wings that can control time and space and are so full of yourself that you dare to try your hand at breaking through the internal region. Especially at God-destroying Valley? Hee hee. Seems like your silver wings will fall into my possession very soon. A fiery red figure that looked like a human child flew straight out of the cave in one swift movement. This video will end here.